All right, so this little video is a little bit of a how-to. Craig's been working on the coupe ute and doing the radiator fan shroud. So let's have a look and run through how we're doing it. Check it out.
So we got our radiator back from having different outlets put on it. This is the fan we're going to put on. It's a 16-inch Davies Craig fan. So we want that to sit on there. So we need to make a shroud to hold that off of there. So what I've done, cut some 20mm MDF, timber, chipboard, whatever you got, whatever we had. So I want that to sit there. I want it to be about 20mm, so that then the fan actually sits off of the core. So that is my base plate. So I'm just about to, that's the size I want the aluminium to be. I'm just going to put a beveled edge on that. We've got a sheet of 2mm alley there. I'll then cut some. That will go on top of this. Then I'll cut another piece as a clamping piece. We'll bolt that all on, and then I'll hammer that over the edge. And then we'll be able to bolt the shroud to these mounting holes here, and then it'll sit the fan, 20mm off the core.
Which is supposed to be better for cooling.
That's exactly right. It allows you to draw air from the corners, because the fan will draw air from the corners because it's got room to do it.
Yeah.
So instead of sort of having it, like jam, like right a lot of people will just put it there and use those pull through plastic bloody clamp things, which are useless, because what happens is they'll eventually wear, they become loose, then the fan moves around, and you can see if you had it sitting on your core like that, eventually it's going to rub a hole through an aluminium core. So you want it actually sitting off like that, and by having it 20mm off like that, it does allow the air in the top corners and that sort of stuff.
The reason is we just want to have a little bit of a rolled edge on the.
Yeah. Just so it's just not a sharp edge. It just looks a bit more sexy.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all about the sexiness.
As Craig does that, I'll do a little bit of filming and you can see how the process works.
And it's really cold this morning. I'm fucking freezing.
It's very cold.
It's Perth. We're not supposed to have this cold. I had to find some gloves and a beanie, and my nose is running.
Yeah.
Whinging a lot today.
Yeah.
And it's only just started.
Yeah,
it's early.
All right.
Okay. I've already folded these ones over, the two short edges, and they were quite simple because you're just going straight down. Now, this side, that's where it's going to mount to the radiator. So I want it, you can see I've already done this one here. So I want it like that. So now my bender won't do that. Once you've rolled it over, it wouldn't be able to get it in the bender and bend it. So this is another way that I've done it before, and this is how I did window surrounds on my hot rod years ago. So basically what Alan came up with the great idea of, because when you're bashing this stuff around, it likes to slide around the bench a fair bit
and disappear,
and it's hard. So Alan came up with the idea of actually drilling a hole and bolting it into the bench, which was very good. The idea of the day. Buy a bench.
Yeah, buy a
$6,000 bench with lots of holes in it, so that you can bolt a piece of wood to it.
Yeah, because our bench, if you have a look, we've got all
has
these.
a lot of tapped holes for when we do a chassis. And I'll just throw a couple of clamps in the corners there, just to steady it. But at least when you're bashing this, it's not sliding all over the place. And then, so these are a couple of tools that I've used before too. So this is something we made 20 years ago. I find that the 42 by 19 timber, which is what, inch, 3/4 of an inch by inch and a half or something in American terms, whatever, something like that. I used, because I had a furniture business, I used to have timber racks full of it. So I would hammer the timber, but the problem is the tops of the timber splays out and you've got shit going everywhere and splinters and all that sort of stuff. So we just came up with this very fancy tool.
You can, and the timber slides into the end.
Yeah, so the timber just slides into the end and you can replace it. Now this piece has been in there 10 years and I haven't replaced it. And the good thing I like about timber is you can just run it on the belt sander and change the shape of it or whatever. I've also used aluminium. That's a piece of solid aluminium. You can see how the top mushrooms out. Well, if you can imagine that was timber, it'd be all over the place.
Yeah.
And then also used steel. And see, even with that, like when I did my hot rod windows, I wanted a real sharp edge, so I had to go in with something even sharper than that to get that real fine edge. So basically what you're doing is you're bashing this down, it'll go around the wooden form there, and then it hits the bench, and so then you've got to then force the corners in. So, yeah. So, let's go. Let's bash.
Oh, hang on.
Oh, what am I bashing?
We might turn the microphones off.
Off.
Off. Yeah, we don't want to just hear bashing.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to hear me bashing.
Hang on.
Okay. See, that's sort of what you're trying to do is roll it, so it started to roll around the form, and then you're just pushing into that corner so that we can have it come back, because basically I want this to sit on the radiator, be about 20 mil off, and then this flange here will be able to bolt it through.
But remember, there'll be not as much sound. So
you can't hear me!
Yeah. I'll just...
Had a lot of bashing, so now we shall unscrew it. Now the difference with, the reason I had to do that is because of the design of that radiator there, which, the way it mounts. When Cody did his shroud, he could just have it at right angles because he could run this side of the shroud straight past and bolt in from the side. Whereas if you have a look at that radiator, you see it has to sit on there. It can't wrap around the side.
Yeah, so it's got to come down.
Yes.
We'll show you.
Finger? Yes.
All right, the unboxing.
Okay.
Sort of.
Yeah, it should be tight because you've hammered around, so sometimes it can be a little bit tight to get it out. There you go. Ta-da! So obviously we still have to cut a hole in that. Like that. So that goes out like that. So that will sit like that. Still needs a bit of trimming so that we can get it to, so this flange, we can bolt through there. and then you've still got that distance off the radiator, but nothing is touching the core. So then that will bolt through there. Am I right?
I've got
Right.
the good side.
Where's that? Okay, so there it is. It's nice and tight. It's got an inch off the radiator. So the blades, this is a radiator, like it's a factory radiator for this car, like aftermarket factory radiator for this model car. But we've had the outlets changed a little bit just to make it easier for the application of this motor, which is not a stove bolt. So, so that's why this looks so big.
And what that also allows us, that means that the hoses you'll use, we'll show you on a couple of
You can use factory or
they're just a 90-degree bend.
easily available hoses. So now, take this over here, and theoretically, no, I remember this wasn't easy to get in. Through that way.
I'd help, but I've got to hold the camera.
Yeah. Probably won't go now because of the fan shroud. I'll have to take the radiator supports off. But anyway, it works so that the fan shroud can be bolted onto the radiator, and then the radiator will bolt in the factory positions again.
Well, we'll cut.
Cut.
That's it. Through the magic
Is
of
it in?
television.
It's now in. Look at that.
Seamless. That
Bolts were done up. No one even knows. No one could even tell. So anyway, that's it. That's the original position. So obviously we still got to put a couple of bolts down there. So we've only got 2 in the top, but that's where it sits. This one's quite a good one because there's so much room in this engine bay. Normally you have a lot of problems with distance from the fan to the pulleys and that sort of stuff. So then sometimes you have to go to slimline fans, but then a lot of the slimline fans don't flow the same amount of CFM as good ones. So in this particular case, we could go with a good quality Davies Craig, you know, pumps a shitload.
There's the hose.
Oh yeah, then hoses. So that hose will go into, would you like me to hold that hose? There you go, there's that hose. So that will go down there. We need a swivel outlet for there. And then down the bottom, we've worked it out so that we have
basically down the bottom,
that and that.
So we've got a.
So then you can just buy a bend at a radiator shop, or
whatever.
You know, if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, this sort of stuff's easy to get. You know, you're not trying to buy custom hoses or something like that. So where possible, we try and use factory parts or easily available parts, and modify the vehicle to take the standard part. Don't modify the part to fit the vehicle, because then you've got to modify it on the side of the road if you're replacing it. So that's it. I think.
That bit's done.
Yeah, that bit's done. Back to the tailgate.
Okay.
Okay.